What's up, guys? It's your boy Abdullah from Ather Gaming here, and I know we haven't uploaded in a while. Well, we took a break for a little bit, midterms, exams, all that stuff. It's the holiday season, so happy holidays to everybody. We are in the process of working on a lot of things, guys. A lot of great content coming your way. I want to give a huge shout out to all our patrons, and as well as everybody who reached out to us, like in our little bit of an absence, and asked us if everything was okay. Everything was great, guys. Shout out to everybody who messaged me for deck videos and deck ideas and deck suggestions and stuff like that, guys. That's actually the purpose of today's video, and it was something that I've received tons of messages of people saying, I really want my invite, I really want to go to nationals. What's a deck I can play to quickly understand, quickly learn, get my invite, and just enjoy the game for the rest of the year until Nats hits, especially with the new Master Rule revision that's coming up. So that is the purpose of today's video, guys. Make sure you leave a like, a comment, let me know what you think about the list, as well as let me know what you think about the new Master Rule changes. We're gonna have videos coming out on that as well as a ban list video coming up soon. Anyways, guys, that's it for the intro. Let me get right into the deck profile. See you guys soon. All right, guys. So as a surprise to absolutely nobody, the deck list that I was talking about is actually Salamangreat. I believe that Salad is the deck that has been disrespected this format. Not like most of the people that I've talked to just don't consider Salad to be all that powerful. They favor decks like Draco Striker, Sky Striker Orcust, Pure Striker, even Pure Thunder, which I just think is altogether ridiculous. I think Salamangreat, in my opinion, is the best deck of the format. I know that maybe regional reports will show otherwise, but like Walter Jewell keeps winning with the list. I mean, something's good about this deck. Anyways, to get right into the profile, guys, we play the one Salamangreat Gazelle. Obviously, you can only play one Gazelle. I'm not going to talk about Gazelle for 45 minutes. The thing with Gazelle now at 1, though, is that you don't actually need him to win games. He's fantastic. He provides a lot of consistency turn 1 and a lot of power. But even there's other cards that you can play, and there's other things that you do like rely on that kind of offsets the loss of Gazelle. So just the one Gazelle. Then we play the triple spinny. I do believe this is standard at this point now. It just gives you more access to Gazelle, gives you access to more plays. It's an extender, and the extra 500 attack is actually relevant for a combo that I'll show you guys later. But yeah, just the triple spinny, just another extender for us to play, guys. At this point, spinny is standard at 3. We also play 3 Foxy. Again, another card that is standard at 3. Foxy's fantastic. Normally, you're not going to be using the effect to reveal to add because of like the hits to Salad have lowered the number of cards that you can see with Foxy. So your odds of hitting something have gone down. But a secondary effect to pop cards, face-up cards specifically, you can deal with Floodgates, you can deal with Babel, which stops a lot of Orcust play. So it's just a very powerful card, and it's a card that you want to prioritize in your graveyard, sometimes even over Spinny, sometimes even over Jaguar. This is how you're going to play through a lot of back row. It's just Foxy popping their face-up cards, and because we have access to a card like Foxy and we can just easily out Floodgates and easily out problem cards like Orcust Babel, well, Foxy pop the Babel, make the Dweller, opponent can't really play. Through this, we want to see this card in our hand, we want to see this card in the graveyard, and then another card that we want to see in the graveyard, and sometimes even in our hand, is the double Jaguar. Jaguar is so insane that I'm thinking about playing 3 of this card. I play Desires, which is why I play the 2 Jaguar in the first place, but this card on its own lets you make Sunlight Wolf just by itself, just normal Jaguar going to Balinks, reincarnate, blah, blah, blah. So I think this card is super powerful just because it's only this card in Spinny, and Gazelle obviously, that lets you make the Sunlight Wolf just on its own, but having access to Jaguar, just not having to banish it, and just being able to play with like through DD Crow and Shark Cannon, which Skystriker Orcust is playing both of, is also a very powerful, very powerful. You know what? It's a reason to play Jaguar. You play this card at 2, maybe even 3, and then we play the 1 Falco. Falco, for some reason, is still not a super rare, still not a foil. I don't know when he'll get it, but whatever. The card is insane. This is how we're going to be making Dweller in our deck. This lets us reuse our spell cards, reuse our trap cards. It helps us reuse our monsters even. You can normal Gazelle, send the Falco, bounce the Gazelle, summon the Falco, and then link it away, trigger the Gazelle. There's just a lot of things that Falco can do on its own, and just being able to use it as a link material almost every single turn. But the reason you play him is because he's a level 4, and he does help you make Dweller. We don't play any Foul. This is it for Salamangreat cards. Foul just didn't do too much on its own. That was one of the bigger issues with this deck. I play a heavier trap lineup, so I need to play cards that do something on their own, monsters that do something on their own, and Falco was like really the limit of it. It's like you need to play Falco in the deck just because of what he provides. He gives you a lot of utility, and I think that you don't actually need Foul to make Dweller. Just having your standard line can actually get you into the Falco and the Jaguar to get into the Dweller. So that's it for Salamangreat monsters. Now we play the supporting cards for the deck. Just the 1 CR cover. I was testing this card at 3, tested it at 2. Even at 1, I don't know how much I like it. It is an extender. It does let you play more cards. The fact that it's a water is something that I don't like. I don't really like the water-based extenders because Post Stalio, it doesn't really help us extend, so you need to use it to make the Stalio, and you can usually make Stalio before anyway, so I don't know how I feel about this card, but I do respect the ability that it gives you to be able to extend into your opponent's board. And once you have this on board, if you ever get this card out, and you have this plus Spinny, it's very powerful. I don't know about playing 2 personally, but it was just another level 3 that helped me get into Stalio, because Stalio is a way that we out a lot of threatening cards in our format. Deals with Dingirsu, deals with Galatea, deals with those monsters that can't be destroyed, that they summon off the IP Masquerena. So the Arc River for sure. 1 was a ratio that worked really well for me. I have seen people play 2, but 1 was perfect for me. We play the 1 debug. I have seen lists cutting this, but in a list like this, when we're playing a higher trap count, what we really care about debug is the fact that it's a 1-card combo and it generates a +4 on its own. And people have forgotten about that. Yeah, it's prone to hand traps, but the hand trap people aren't playing Ghost Ogre anymore, so it's not a blowout on our debug. But yeah, we just play the 1 debug because it's a huge consistency piece, and being a 4 on its own does help us make a Dweller as well. We play multiple Dwellers in this deck, so sneak peek of the extra deck, and having an extra level 4 really comes in handy sometimes. Debug is really powerful just because, again, we play so many traps that set 4 like normal debug essentially gives us full combo. Then we play what I would think is the best card in this deck, Flame Buffalo. This is actually the reason why I decided to go to a trap heavier lineup, is just because Buffalo gives you so much raw draw power, and it usually comes without a downside. You don't most of the Cyburst monsters that you're playing in your deck, you want to discard literally everything that's not Gazelle and Debug. You want to discard, so all these cards are plus discards off the Flame Buffalo. The card triggers when they bounce it. It triggers on almost anything except when it gets spun. So it deals with cards like Heretic Seal. It deals with cards like things like that, and it helps you chain block as well, because if you need your Bailings to resolve, you can chain block the Bailings. If you are facing a Colossus, it helps you get 2 draws, gets you 2 cards to get to the Colossus. And obviously for our deck, like I always said, that Buffalo is only as good as the cards it draws you into, but when Buffalo draws you into Solemn Strike or Compulse, like you feel really good. That's it for the monsters that we play that aren't hand traps. Now the hand trap lineup is something that's very flexible. You guys can play whatever you want. I'm currently playing Triple Ash Blossom, obviously because of its utility, and obviously just how powerful it is in Salamangreat because of level 3 fire. Needs no introduction. Ash is almost always average or above average or good, so it hits usually everything. It hits something in every single deck in the format, so it usually hits almost anything. The next hand trap we play is the Triple Imperm. You don't actually need to play this card. This can be 3 DD Crow or 3 Skullmeister, and on a similar vein, the 3 Phantasme. I play 3 Phantasme. I've seen people who've been cutting it to 0. I've seen people who've been cutting it to 2. Even to 1. Like, this is a card that just synergizes very well with Salad, because you can summon it to Wolf's Pointer, generate another plus. You can go Bailings, add the field spell, not activate the field spell, Phantasme, shuffle back the field spell, and just get a +1 for free off of that. But these cards can very easily be replaced now because of the way the format has developed. This could become a DD Crow, these could be DD Crow, this could be Skullmeister, just to help you counter the Orca strategy a little bit. These are cards that I personally like to play, and if you have access to it, I would still play them. But again, if your regional is like very high on the Orcus count, this should be Crow, and this should be Skullmeister. So that's something that you guys can decide there. Again, I believe these are the flex spots in the deck. I just love these cards. I love their power. I love their utility, which is why I choose to play them. But again, this is what you could change. Make no mistake about it. You could play this exact hand trap count, just these 9 cards or these 6 cards, if you're like me and you don't consider Phantasme a hand trap, and have no issues, getting your invite. Again, I just love Phantasme. Now, that's it for the monster count. We don't play too heavy on hand traps just because I don't believe hand traps are all that great this format. We don't main Nibiru because, again, like there's not too much Salad running around, and Nibiru against Orcus really just stops Masquerena. Like, that's it. And they still have the rest of their Orcus play, and it's not that impactful. And I don't want to play cards that were like half good. Against Draco Striker, Nibiru is almost always useless. Sometimes you can pull it off, but usually it's just a dead card against them. And against all those like little back row decks, like Guru, Altergeist, things like that, it's just another dead card. And like I didn't want to play too many dead cards in the main against back row decks like Draco and stuff. Phantasme is enough. Moving on to the spell cards, we play the 1 Sanctuary. You got to play it because we play Desires. You want to search the Sanctuary before you do anything. It's actually more important to have Sanctuary in your hand than it is to have Gazelle. I know it seems a little crazy, but trust me, it's a lot easier to play this game with Sanctuary than without, and it's a lot easier to play this game, if you have Sanctuary and not have Gazelle than the reverse. Again, yeah, just the 1 Sanctuary, we need to play it. It facilitates a lot of plays. One of the Circle, if we had more, we'd play more. Again, not much to say about it. Cards are really, really strong, and it actually lets us, if you have like a weird hand, and you get to like Sunlight Wolf Reincarnated, and this card's in your hand, or this card's in your graveyard for whatever reason, you can actually use this to protect your wolf against the Nibiru, but it doesn't come up too much. Then we play the 2 Salamangreat Wills. This was actually DD Crow before, but I decided that I would rather play Will as I felt it was easier to play through the Orcus board if I had open Will instead of like if I had open Crow. The issue with Crow again is that if you Crow a Harpoorer and they get another one in the grave, they can just use the effect. You can also replace this for Skullmeister, but personally, I think this card's insane. I think this gets rid of the problem of, if your normal summon gets interrupted, you usually get screwed, and Will lets you make Dweller, lets you make Link Climb, lets you OTK, and again, it generates advantage every single turn. You can also play around this ratio. You can play 1 Will and play the Monster Reborn instead. I think that's also a very powerful card in this deck, but again, 2 Will. Most of these, listen, I'm giving you guys, alternatives that you guys can play. I personally wouldn't make any changes. I think this deck is insane, and I haven't lost too many games while I've been playing it. Most of the tournaments that I'm playing in have been topping. The last regional I took it to, I placed to get like my invite. So it's again just a deck that I think is very, very powerful, and Will is one of those very powerful cards because they have to deal with it. It's a threatening card. I play the Double Desires. You could not be a coward and play 3. I play 2 because realistically, you don't want to see 2 Desires. So, having the 2 means you're probably only going to see the 1. This card is insane in our deck. Make sure you search your field spell before you activate your Desires. We play so many traps in this deck that Desires is usually an insane plus. And I think for the most part, this card is without drawback in our deck. Banishing Gazelle sucks, but you can still win very easily without having your Gazelle. And again, search your field spell first. This card says draw 2. You got to play it, guys. You can cut the Archiver and actually play the 3rd Desires, which is something that I've been considering, but I'll play the 3 Signet Mining. Again, just a huge consistency boost. Colossus isn't really in our format, so we don't get hurt by the search lockout or whatever. The card is nuts. Search Debug, search Buffalo, search Gazelle. Doesn't matter. The card's insane. We want to send cards to our graveyard anyway, and mining it just gives us a huge consistency boost. It is getting reprinted in Dual Overload, I believe, coming up in March, so the price might have dropped enough for you guys to pick up now. Now, that's all that we play for the spell cards. Moving on to our traps, we play a heavier trap lineup, starting off with just these Salamangreat traps, like the Roar and the Rage. I know that you can play multiples of these, and especially because we play Desires, but usually you're not going to banish both. Like, if your Desires pile is so bad that, both of these get banished, plus like a Gazelle, like, you're not going to win that game anyway, and you probably weren't winning that game in the first place because you had to Desire, so that's not really relevant in my opinion. Roar and Rage are nuts. This, God bless, foil printing and OTS. Being able to non-targeting out. This is our out to like mine and back row cards because we don't play Cosmic Cyclone, things like that in the main. I decided to tech heavier for more combo and more combo oriented, or more like Salamangreat matchups, more Orcus matchups, more like Danger Thunder matchups than play cards like Cosmic Cyclone. But again, if you're playing in a metagame where there's a lot of Cyclones, you can replace the Wills for Cyclones, replace the hand traps for Cyclones. But this card was great. These cards are insane, obviously, because we can recur them every single turn, and then to support them, we play some insane cards. We play Triple Solemn Strike. This is a card, again, that people have forgotten about. I don't think people really play around Strike anymore, and it ends turns. It ends Orcus turns, it ends Salamangreat turns. Sometimes it'll even end Striker turns, just being able to get rid of their Link, not trigger the Ray. This card's nuts. Nobody sees it coming, and it just deals with a lot. And in conjunction with some of the other cards that we play, for example, Salamangreat Rage, you can go Rage, bait the negate, strike the negate, pop everything, their whole board's gone. So even going second, it's not a horrible card against certain matchups. Against Orcus going second, it's not awful. Combining with that, we play the triple compulsory evacuation device. I believe that Compulse, and along with Strike, are some of the best 1-for-1 trades in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Currently. I think it's again a card that people don't necessarily respect. It's a non-targeting, non-destructive removal ability. It's a targeting but non-destructive removal ability. So it deals with Dingirsu, deals with like the Thunder Dragon cards if you ever deal with those. Monsters that can't be destroyed by card effect, can't be destroyed by battle. Essentially deals with those cards as well. And you can also do stuff like compulse your own monster to dodge some stuff. So, not that really comes up, but again, these are the removals that we play in. Like, when you have Strike, when you have Compulse, if you go normal debug and you open one of these guys and you go into your full combo, most decks aren't going to play through it. And then the issue with Strike and Compulse and a lot of back row, like heavy decks, is that the deck itself needs another way to generate advantage, and our Salamangreat engine generates so much advantage for us that we can take these 1-for-1 trades, and I think these are the best 1-for-1 trades in the game. And combined with our extra deck, these cards actually combo really well with just our overall game plan. So that's it for the main, guys. 40 cards in main, at least it should be. Now going into the extra deck, we play the triple Balinks. Don't tell me that you can play 2 of this card. You play 3 of this card. This card's nuts. Lets us grind, gives us graveyard protection, searches our field spell. Card's insane. I will play 3 Sunlight Wolf. I don't know more to say about this card. This card does everything for us. Usually it stays up on the field, especially when you back this up with a Compulse and a Strike. Maybe a Salamangreat trap, maybe a hand trap. Like, this card's on the field and generates advantage every single turn. It'll usually +2 almost every single turn for us, and because of that, we can get our engine going and really kill our opponent. This deck can actually OTK like turn 2 very, very easily. That's actually the game plan here. So playing these powerful like 1-for-1 removals, Sunlight Wolf is nuts. Lets us recover whatever the hell we want. We play the double Heatleo, again, just helps us remove back row, helps us swing over big monsters, and just 2 is the correct number. I think these are the 8 cards you can't cut in this deck for sure. The 1 Hita and the 1 Phoenix. Hita's still strong just because you can revive an Ash and Skystrike Orcus with Kagari, you can revive a Kagari, go into a Heatleo, go into whatever you want. It's largely generic, so it's also very strong for that. There's not as much Salad running around in the format, but when you do play against Salad, this card is nuts. Against Grand Maju, you can revive their Grand Maju. Maju is a level 3 fire monster, so you can go into Stallion with that. I know Danger Maju is still running around, things like that. But Nightmare Phoenix is also one of the reasons why we play Hita, because if they've gone into Phoenix, we can Hita back to Phoenix and start making our plays. We play the Phoenix against spot removal. It's a fire. Why wouldn't we play this? Usually we're getting a draw with this card because we're calling here the Sunlight Wolf. And then we play an engine that I wasn't playing before, and this is the Update Transcode Talker package. This helps us OTK on an open board, and we're playing all these 1-for-1 removals in our deck, right? Like in our strikes and our compulses and stuff. So what we're trying to do is simplify the game state to the point where we just do the Update Transcode combo, and when our second Gazelle is going to send the Will lets us have Sunlight Wolf, Update Jammer, Transcode Talker, and there's a lot of monsters in the game where they might have less than 3k attack, they can't be targeted by battle, whatever, destroyed by card effects, and Update Jammer and Transcode actually let us deal with them. The Update Transcode combo can problem cards because Transcode's effect will negate the effect of monsters on the field that can't be destroyed for whatever reason. And I've done that before. This just lets us OTK our opponents, and when you play this, you'll notice how easy it is to just one-shot your opponent, and that's the game plan with this deck, is that we're going to grind them, on their turn, they're not going to be able to play, we're going to trade 1-for-1, we're going to summon Gazelle, resolve our Will, Update Transcode them, and then just easily push for game. This engine is nuts right now, especially because, again, nobody expects it. We play the 1 Mirage Stalio. You could cut something, maybe you could cut Hita, play the second Stalio. I think the 1 only ever comes up. You can put it back with Jaguar almost always. Sunlight Wolf can add it back and summon it in the same turn because you're not locked out at that point. The 1 Stalio, this is how we remove a lot of cards in the format that can't be destroyed. And then we play Double Abyss Dweller. Double Dweller comes up so much when you play up against the Mirror, when you play up against Orcust, when you play up against Draco, any deck that needs to rely on the graveyard, even if it's not even the heaviest reliance, because the thing with this deck is that a lot of the times you'll open 1 or 2 trap cards anyway, so you can just do the Dweller play turn 1, because this deck it's very easy to just make Dweller in this deck, especially past turn 1. So you can just make a Dweller and just randomly get a negate, if you can stop a Dark Worm or a Destrudo, even stopping the Odd Eyes Absolute, Summon Vortex, there's random interactions that just having a free Dweller is enough. And because we play 2, we'll stun Orcus for a turn, Dweller them again, stun them again. This was an Appaloosa before, but I was running into the issue of oftentimes when you're making Appaloosa, you're committing a lot of resources, and if you're not committing resources, you're having to get rid of your Sunlight Wolf, and I want to always have Sunlight Wolf in my extra monster zone, and then whatever monster I'm making underneath the Sunlight Wolf. Whereas for Appaloosa, the Appaloosa would be up here, and then I wouldn't have a Sunlight Wolf. So that's the idea with Double Dweller. It's come up almost every single game I played against Orcust. So that's it for the extra deck. Normally, I don't show the side deck, because again, it's always tech to whatever local meta is, but because of the nature of this deck and that we're playing a lot of trap cards going first, and we're not maining back row removal, the side deck is tech for what I believe that I would expect to play at a regional or a higher level event. So to deal with that, I play the triple Twin Twisters. To deal with all the annoying back row decks, Twin Twisters has a lot of value against a lot of decks in the format, and just when you play against decks like Draco or decks that don't want to let you play the game, you just twin them, you don't worry about it. This is an S tier side deck, God bless that I got an ultimate rare printing, but this is a card that is just nuts. It's 2 for 2 removal, and in our deck, we play Debug, we play Salad can actually do a 1-card engine, right? Again, evenly matched, deal with all the rogue garbage that you play against. You evenly somebody, you probably win the game, and that's the thing with this deck, is that evenly is just such a huge, powerful card, and Orcust can't play this card because people are going to side Lancia, but nobody can side Lancia against you as a Salamangreat player, so evenly will usually generate such a huge plus for you. The Danger Thunder deck doesn't actually put up a spell trap negate or a trap card negate for the evenly match, so evenly just rips through that board, rips through even the Orcust board. Don't side this against Orcust, but you can, but rips through Thunder. Mainly it's for the rogue back row decks that you're going to play against, the random ones that you just evenly and they just don't have a way to deal with it. Now speaking of more generic removal that we have is the Dino Wrestler Pankratops. Pankratops is insane. I have issues, again, dealing with Inspector Border. This card just removes Border. This card also removes cards like the Masquerena play, because you can just special Pankratops, go into battle, force the Masquerena, pop the Babel, and just
one card deal with the Orcust board by itself. I said this in against Orcust. This card is insane. Most matchups going second, you actually want Pancratops because it's a free special summon, and just being a 2600 and a pop like a spot removal, card's nuts. I'm never ever going to lose the back row ever in my entire life when I'm playing cards like this in my side. So that is, those are the 9 cards that we play to deal with back row decks, deal with other control decks that don't lose the cards like Solemn Strike, they don't lose the cards like Impulse. And then we go into the cards that we play for Orcust. We play the triple Artifact Lancia. This card is insane. We side this in against Orcust, whether we go first or second post side. It doesn't matter. You want Lancia in your deck just because you want Lancia in your deck just because it stops their entire line of play. And in this deck, what you can do is like Lancia them, then Dweller them the next turn, then Dweller them again because you play 2 Dwellers. Maybe you've drawn into a Lancia if they're not dead yet. But it's just another way to just stop Orcust from playing. And Orcust is the most represented deck. Everybody thinks it's the best. And so you just Lancia them, and everybody's playing Lancia. So that's why I don't think Orcust is that great. Again, another card we play. Triple system down, just to deal with the Orcust board. They can pop off and do whatever they want and load their graveyard. You activate system down, the game just ends right there. This card, again, its usefulness depends on if Orcust is playing Ghost Spell or not, because you can Ghost Spell this, but this is a 1-card answer to the entire Orcust combo. And Salamangreat can take advantage of it because nobody's going to side Lancia against us. So that's it for the deck, guys. I believe that this is the best deck you can choose if you're really struggling to get your invite, if you really just want to get it quickly and not worry about it, maybe focus more on the new Master that's coming out, build for that. Just play Salad at your next regional. I guarantee if you play this list, you'll come at least in the bracket, whatever it is, for getting your invite, whether that's top 32, top 16, or top 8, doesn't matter. Yeah, so that's it for this, guys.
Okay, guys, so that was the deck profile. Just remember that I really built this deck to take it 9 rounds at an event and say, let's say, or 8 rounds or 7 rounds, whatever it is, and make sure and to ensure that you guys get into your top 8, your top 16, top 32, whatever the cutoff is, just so you can get your invite. It's a deck that I think people have forgotten about and people have failed to respect, whether it comes to main deck choices or side deck choices, and it's a deck that really is just as strong as it's always been, and people have just forgotten about it or aren't respecting it to the same degree as they used to. It has fantastic matchups across the board against what's played in the metagame currently. I just think you guys should give it a try. Just play it for that last regional, get your invite, stop stressing until Nats, guys. Anyways, guys, that was all for the video today. We're going to be coming up with some great content as always. Make sure you leave a comment, subscribe. We have our giveaway at 5,000. We're almost there. That's the Dwarf Method Gaming, guys, signing out.